And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Aquileia. This is an older game, about 5 years old, from Zoc. It is a game that takes place in ancient Rome, which is one of my favorite themes in a game. It has worker placement, which is one of my favorite mechanisms in a game. And it has a little bit of gambling, which is something I like. Well, in a game, of course. So that's a whole lot of good things. Let's hope this adds up together to a game that I enjoy. But first, let's check out how it's played. The game takes place over 6 rounds, and over those 6 rounds, players are trying to get the most points. Now, one of the concepts of this game is that there's 3 currencies, gold, silver, and copper. But these currencies are not really interchangeable, and different currencies are used for different things. So, for example, silver is not 2 coppers or whatever. The silver is used for some currencies, copper is used for others. There's not really change given. Players have several henchmen that they're going to be placing on the board. There's a worker placement phase in which you'll be placing your workers on different spots all over the board. Also, in turn order, you have a chance to place a token on the bottom of the board to show the turn order and tiebreakers for next turn. So you can place that down here. After everyone has placed all their henchmen, you're going to take a look at each section of the board and get whatever you've done to place your workers there. So up here, if you place a worker at this spot, you're going to roll these 6-sided dice, and whatever you roll is what you get. So for example, here, I got 2 coppers, or maybe I got a copper and a gold. Here, at the next spot is where you actually can change money. This is the only spot you can do so. You can change a gold for 4 coppers or 4 coppers for 2 silvers. If you change any money at all, you get 4 victory points. Over here are cards that are going to be able to help you over the course of the game. These cards, even though they show different things, are essentially +1. This one's +1, this one's +2 in the arena combat. This is +2 horses in the stadium. So they're going to be +1, 2, or 3 in the stadium or the arena combat. Here you can buy servi or slaves, 1 copper for 1, 1 silver for 1, or you can spend 2 silvers for 2, 1 gold for 1, 2 gold for 2, or 3 gold for 3. If you go here, you get these 4 blue dice. If you then go down to the arena over here, you can compete in the arena action. Whichever spot you place on, that's how many swords you have. Each player is also going to roll the 3 red dice, and every copper that they roll is added to their score. And players also can play cards, which will add 1, 2, or 3 to their score. The highest winner is going to get points equal to double their strength, or they get a free servi card up to them. And then second place takes the thing that they did not take. In the stadium, by the way, the servi cards can be used as wild cards in the arena, so you can add them to your score if you like to also. In the arena, in the stadium is the same thing as the arena, except you're either using silver horses or gold horses. You take the number here, you roll the dice, and you're trying to get, for example, if I put it on a gold horse, gold will add to my score. If I put it on a silver horse, silver adds to my score. And the winner here is going to draw the top card. They can either take the face-up card here or draw the top hitting card. These cards are different colors and will correspond to points at the end of the game. Then up in the theatrium, this is a spot where you'll turn over the top card and players will bid on this card. This card is going to be one of 2 colors. In this bidding section, players can bid whatever they want. However, after that, they have to bid the exact same thing the previous player bid and then add 1 coin. And so bidding is a little unusual because if you bid a coin that the next person doesn't have, they cannot participate. Even if they have, say, 6 gold, but they don't have a copper, and you bid a copper, too bad for them. Up here in the last area, you're going to be able to go here to roll dice and take money that was spent here. When players go here, they're going to activate their buildings. And so if I go there, I have to put a silver here. And then if someone goes here, and they're going to roll 2 dice, and if they take the silver coin, if they roll silver, they'll take the silver coin that's there, then you don't get to activate your building. So there's always a risk going here, paying the coins that this person might steal it, and you don't get your action. Speaking of buildings, down here is where you go to get your buildings. This is the turn order in which you get your buildings. Some of the buildings, in spots 2 and 5, when you take the buildings, you'll get points equal to them. And spot 3, you get 2 buildings. But of course, spot 1, you get the first choice of buildings. When you take a building, you have to pay the cost of that building. So this building costs 2 coppers, a silver, a gold, and 2 servi. And if you get the points will be here, 5 points. And if you activate, all the buildings on this side of the board can be activated by that Portos ability. Some of them are going to give money, and some of them are going to give points when they're activated. All the buildings on this side can get you points when you buy them if you use number 2 or number 5. But after that, they don't really do anything for you until the end of the game. At the end of the game, let's say I have 2 blue cards, and I've built houses in 2 of the blue areas. Well, I'll take those points of the houses that I have, so that's 9 times 2, that's 18 points. So the more houses you have and the more cards that you have, the higher points you can get at the end of the game. After 6 rounds, you will score for these houses, plus the scores that you've gotten during the course of the game, and whoever has the most points is the winner. The theming of the game is very good. Yeah, there's that whole who's going to win in the combat, who's going to win in the horse races. You don't actually see the horse races in the combat occurring, but the theme of this game, I think, is strong. Yes, there's a whole Euro mechanism at the end of the game. Take the blue houses, multiply them by the blue cards, take the yellow houses, multiply them by the yellow cards. But that does make for some interesting scoring, and certainly there's a good balance of, do you score during the game or do you go for those big points at the end of the game? For theming, I also like the fact that you can get the horse cards and the gladiator cards, and that kind of adds to it. If there's a negative about the theming, it's the servi, or the slaves. Some people are going to be very uncomfortable buying and using slaves as a resource, as evidenced by a more recent game, 5 Tribes. This game is similar to that, I would say. And so just be warned that that's in the game. I haven't seen anyone online complaining about it, but I imagine that maybe that's just because the game is older and not a whole lot of talk about it. The currency of the game is really intriguing to me, with the gold, the silver, and the copper. The money in this game is super tight. You're going to want it all the time. In fact, the first few turns, that spot where you roll 2 dice and get coins will be taken by people. The spot where you get cards is a pretty good spot, because you pay a copper coin, that's it, and you go there and get a card, which can help you out in those combats later on, and those combats will give you coins and or points. And in one of the spots where you get a card, you get a face-down card. So again, that's like another spot that there's several worker placement spots which are really good in this game, and because of that, turn order is critical, really critical. And I like the fact that you have to spend a worker placement to take turn order, but it's not one of your henchmen. It's just basically a thing that you put down to take turn order. So turn order is a big deal, because you're going to want to be the first person to put a house out. You're going to have resources you need, and you'll be like, oh, I really need another blue house so I can get that good multiplier at the end of the game. But I also need coins so that I can buy these cards. This is one of those worker placement games where you feel like you never have enough spots to put things wherever you want. And wherever you put things, it's someone's blocking you. In fact, I think the game works, in this case, the game works better with the upper limit of players rather than lower limit. It says 3 to 5, but 3 is a little easy. There's not as much blocking. 4 and 5, I think, is a much better game. There's that luck in the game, right? There's the luck of the cards you draw. When you take those survey cards, they're 1 or 2, and 2s are better than 1s, and you get a couple 2s, and you're doing really well. Just like maybe you pick first in turn order, and that's when the really good cards come up next turn. Or sometimes you roll the dice and you get 2 golds, which is exactly what you need for the horse race or whatever. So there's that. And I don't mind that as much. There's a bit of gambling going on, like, ooh, how far can I push my luck? And I enjoy how the game has a lot of different options. You can go fight for the Coliseum. You can go fight in the racing arena. There's different things back and forth. That luck is going to probably push some people away, but I think the worker placement and luck works really well. This game's going to probably be compared to Tribune, which is another Roman-era worker placement game, and Tribune is the superior game to this one, but I think this one has a little bit more of a, ooh, how far can I, if you like a little bit of luck, and I think this one might be slightly more thematic in how things go. So if you like that theming of the game, and you can look past the fairly generic components, they're okay, but the board, even the board is like, it's okay. But put it together, and I think it's a very satisfying game with some unusual things I haven't seen in many worker placement games of the same type. Dice Tower Judgment approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.